everybody, and welcome to the Grin Guardian. It's been a while since we've done one of these. So, on the Grin Guardian Gang, we are always talking about public safety, and we sometimes interview authors, or sometimes we talk about coins, or sometimes we just tell war stories. But I've recorded this episode with a young lady that's got quite a story, and she wants to reach out to public safety and get the message out there. So let's bring her out here. And there she is. Hello there. How are you, Lisa?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself
Sure.
so that the audience, I'm going to make it smaller. There we go. So the audience knows what you're, I guess, I don't want to say what you're up to, but about your hopes and dreams.
Okay. My name is Lisa, and I am a yoga instructor currently. And my growth over the years, probably within the last decade, pursuing this yoga lifestyle, I have been around first responders for my entire life. My brother, when he was 2, around the time when he could first start talking, literally he knew at 2 years old he wanted to be a firefighter. So I have been around this demographic forever. I have not been a firefighter, or any first responder. So anyway, along my yoga journey, I was starting to see the effects of these careers can have on people: firefighters, police, ER doctors, medics, things like that. And especially as you get older. And I wound up making the commitment to go to yoga teacher training in September of 2021. And in January of 2022, my brother, who at the time was 52, nearing retirement, decided he didn't want to be on this planet any longer. So that wasn't my first experience seeing that, or haven't heard of something like that. However, it was as close as it can get to me. So something I believe had told me at the time, you need to go through this yoga teacher training because it does really help you deal with life and deal with the pressures of life, deal with the downs of life, and as well as the ups, right? What it does is it tries to keep you in balance. It tries to keep you centered. Unfortunately, when something tragic happens, we don't want to feel that. That's a bad feeling to feel, right? When something great happens, that's wonderful. Let that run all through our body. We love that. But what yoga does in the practice of it, through the positions, the movement, as well as the breath work and the mindfulness through meditation, keeps you in that center. So my mission at that time became, hey, I want to do something for first responders. I want them to be able to regulate themselves from this high state of energy, from going on calls and living in that lifestyle where their body is always in this activated mode, right? Because they deal with emergencies and things like that. How do we bring them back down to where they're able to come off duty, go back home, sit down, and have a nice meal with their family? And over time, when you are constantly in this state, this high, it's your sympathetic nervous system is activated. And you want to be able to bring it back down into that parasympathetic system. Over the years and over the decades, if you do not know how to regulate that, you won't be able to bring it back down. And your body will consistently stay in that high energy state, which means higher blood pressure, higher pulse rate, your muscles are tense all the time. And that has a toll, takes its toll over the years. So I started a company called Nemo's Journey. Nemo is the name of my dog. Will be 13, so I've had him all along the way. And that is my mission. So I wound up teaching Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department outside of the force, but people, did you say something? I'm sorry.
No, I did.
Okay. So I did that for about a year. We had a little stumble trying to get this program brought into, they were working on a program to bring it into the station, the police department. That just didn't quite work out with, the corporate part at that time. So yeah, so I'm trying to, I want to work ideally with people that are making that transition from a firefighter or a police officer or any of those into basically civilian life on a regular basis. So that's the retirement age, or when you have to retire.
Mhm.
So that's my goal. That's my mission. That's what I want to do. I also don't want people to get the wrong impression about yoga. Do not Google it and see the young, pretty girls that are, bending backwards and doing gymnastic poses, because that one, I won't do them. I've never been able to do them. And that's not what it's about. It's about bringing your nervous system in balance, keeping you centered, integrating your body with your mind and your breath, and keeping you grounded is really the gist of it. And as this goes along, I certainly can bring more into it.
Okay. Now, when you were working with the police department, did you see any type of results from them, or did you get that far?
I absolutely did. I worked with them for about a year, and I had 3 people that consistently came, and like anything else, consistency is key. And I do remember one of them said, we remembered the breath work, which is just basic, simple breathing, to, again, balance you. He said, I did that after a call, and it really, really brought me back to a state of centeredness. So yes, I kept track of if they had any injuries, which that's another part of this as well. Most people do. Anybody, you don't have to be a first responder to have lower back issues in your 50s. That was getting improved upon. I kept statistics on that and progress on that. And yes, absolutely, it definitely is something that anybody can benefit from. But of course, my heart is with the first responders.
Sure, and we appreciate that. Um, I, First off, I apologize for your loss. I've been through it a couple times on duty with coworkers and peers, so understand that. And what you were talking about, the cortisol level in our body, we become so adapted to it being high that our body basically takes that as your new normal. And when you retire, there's no real way. And that's one of the unfortunate things about the public safety. Once you're done, you get to watch a plaque and you're gone. The calls are still going to come in, things are still going to happen. But your body is so used to, I mean, for instance, when I was on duty, you would work 24 hours. And during that 24 hours, I was usually up most of the 24 hours. So you would come home the first day and just totally collapse. I mean, your body's spent. And then the next day, you almost feel like you're getting yourself in a state of readiness to go back and do it again. And when you get in that cycle, I mean, I've been out since, is it 21, December 21, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's 20, but anyway, whatever it was, I still feel like I'm on that cycle. And there's some times when I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like wide awake, ready to go, and there's no real way. And of course, when you go see a doctor, well, here's a pill. That's what they're good at. And that is good. I think the medication is a good starting point, because it can get you regulated quicker than doing something. But I think there should be an exit ramp from that, because once again, you're just adding another thing to your body. And in the long run, you're just harming your body, whether it's your kidney, liver, whatever. But it's just a Band-Aid. So, but for the acute, we'll call it acute crisis, because it'll level you quicker. than most things. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I was on duty, firefighter paramedic, and this was during COVID, and we were having to send first responders on. Basically, it was a pickup truck with, the EMS kit. Yeah, I mean, really, what it was, a fireman and a paramedic, and we would answer medical calls. One of the crews had a call where the patient was he was a challenged adult male. He was rather large, and he had had a seizure. And when he come to, I don't know if you've ever been around a person that has a seizure, but they get combative. They want to fight. And that's because their brain has been deprived of oxygen. They don't know what's going on. And, so he was on his front yard. He was fighting with them. And so the fireman called for backup, basically. And I told my sergeant, I'm like, hey, that's our first due. We're right around the corner, because he didn't hear it on the radio. So we hopped on the engine and took off. As I was walking down to the scene, a pit bull came busted out of the back of the house, came around the car. And I guess I was just the unfortunate one. She got my left arm, my left hand. And so that took me out of service. So, and I would have argued with people that post-traumatic stress was a real thing, but that was more for like the people who'd been in war. Now, granted, sometimes some of the things you see as a first responder are very similar, but I would have argued that was more for like the veterans. And the moment I realized I had PTSD, it was too late. And the orthopedic surgeon, I had went through a year and a half of physical therapy, occupational therapy. I was probably in the best shape of my life because of what they were putting me through. Mm-hmm. But my left hand, I can squeeze and grab, but it won't stay. So it's like there's no length to the time. It'll just give out. Like if I was climbing a ladder and had to pull up, it'd be like, yeah, no, not doing it. So the orthopedic surgeon wouldn't release me. And the day that he told me that, the final appointment, I literally collapsed on the floor of his office. It was like crying. I was like a hot babbling mess. I'm glad my wife decided to go that day. And it was funny. He goes, I'm a surgeon. He goes, and I can't diagnose you, but I can tell you have PTSD. Yeah, okay, I guess I do. So then I went through the whole process of, because they were going to just basically let me go. Then they were like, oh, well, crap, now he's crazy on top of that. I'm going to do something with that. So workers' comp in the department started sending me the shrink, and they started with the pills and stuff. And even to this day, like I said, I've been off for a while. I find it incredibly difficult to relax. I find it incredibly difficult to go to sleep. A lot of times we will fight sleep because of either we're scared of the dreams or you're just used to being going, So yes, you're absolutely right. And I think departments, there needs to be something to transition, because you go from 100 miles an hour to sitting on the couch with the missus watching TV or whatever it is, you go to a more laid back, lifestyle. And that's where first responders get in a lot of trouble, because we don't know what to do. So self-medication, alcohol, drugs are a problem. And statistically, you can go research this yourself. I think it's National Fire, NFPA, was it National Fire Protect? What NFPA? I think their study says most firefighters live an average of 5 years past retirement. That's totally unacceptable, so.
Agreed, especially when retirement is early 50s. Ish, maybe the mid 50s. Yeah.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, you do your time, you get out. So yeah, that's crazy.
It's sad because they don't have that transition into. I mean, how would that work from a police department implementing something or a fire department implementing something? I don't know, but at least have some sort of, that's where I come in, right? But maybe if they had something that I don't want them to be required to do it. It's not that. I want anybody just do it completely on their own, but something for that deregulation. It's even important on duty because, like you were saying, once you're retired, you don't know what to do with yourself. And yes, then you need that adrenaline rush from something, whether it's alcohol or doing some dangerous sports or something, because you get bored. That's why they also consider a line of duty death now if you have a heart attack within 48 hours of a call.
Yes.
Because that state, you're in that high state and your body is like, I don't know how to get myself out of this high blood pressure state or any of that. And these are facts, they've been proven over and over and over and over again, yet nothing is done about it.
Correct.
And it's really unfortunate. And there are other things that can help with that. I have this great sheet here. I could send it to you. Just deep and slow breathing. You've been out on calls. Someone's panicking. Oh my goodness. They're in a panic. What do you tell them to do? Breathe.
Slow breathing. Yeah. Just breathe.
Calm down. Right. Take a deep inhale, long exhale. Deep inhale, long exhale. That is tremendously beneficial and tremendously helpful for calming that nervous system. Exercise, meditation, laughing is beneficial. Singing is beneficial. How many of us sing in the shower, right? And of course, yoga. So, yes, it's something that you can certainly do it every day, but even if it was done 3 times a week, it doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be this lengthy process. If you just take time to sit and breathe for 5 minutes and then 10 minutes, just to kind of regulate yourself, especially after a call, and then just do some physical movements. Very simple, nothing crazy. And I'm not saying, leave out anything else. Certainly go lift weights and do all that gym stuff and do your running or whatever the case may be. I think part of the issue is they don't implement enough health activities. You get tested once a year. They should be, when you're on duty, I think you should be required to have some sort of workout plan.
Yeah.
To keep yourself physically in shape throughout your career, and that that'll regulate yourself as well. So that's my goal, to bring the benefits of yoga to first responders, active or inactive, just to have that balance, because the same thing happens after you're on a shift for 24 hours or 48 hours and you've had how many calls, right, where you have no sleep. What do you do when you go home? Sit on the couch or go to sleep. You go from here, you go home, and you go down here, and that's it. So that's when that can play a role there too. Even if you go home and you do 10 minutes of breath work, 10 minutes of some active movement, at least it will bring you back to center.
Makes sense. Why do you think specifically men, there's a stigma with yoga?
One, I think it's when they Google it and see what they see, they want no part of that from the yoga perspective, because I get it that, I'm not flexible, I can't do it. I didn't want to do it either, because years ago I'm like, I can't do that. If that's what I need to do, then that's not for me. I was never a gymnast or a dancer or any of that stuff. So I think for men, that's a big part of it. But I also think, especially the younger generation of men, which I think today, they're a lot more exposed to yoga than our generation was. Yeah. It's not odd to see younger men in a yoga studio taking a class, either by themselves or with a girlfriend, friend, or whatever. So I think that stigma's coming down a little bit. But when it comes to first responders, I think they think, one, oh, that doesn't have a benefit for me. It's not hard enough or something, so I think that's why. And then when you get to the older ones, they're like, oh no, I'm not flexible. I can't do that. There's no way. So I just don't think they know much about it.
Yeah. Well, you did bring up an interesting point there when you said, we will, like I used to tell my chief later in my career, I'm your best firefighter you got for 30 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, send in the young guys. I need a break. It's out. And that's the way we approach things, is that adrenaline, the wall push. And then from there, it's just muscle memory and survival sometimes. So,
Right.
yeah, I agree. We do it. We're 100% in, or we're not in. And that's a bad thing too. So, well, let me ask you this, because I know we're going to hear it in the comments. Some people will associate doing some of this with some type of religious, or I don't know if it's, I don't want to say religion, a cult. I don't know, that it's dealing with something out of the ordinary. What are your thoughts on that?
I've heard that too. It's not a religion. It is a philosophy. It Anyone is welcome to participate, to study the philosophy, which I highly recommend at least learning a little bit about it. It's about 5,000 years old. Yoga, literally the practice of yoga when it started. Now, yes, Buddhism is, heavy into that. Sanskrit is it's an antiquated language, but that is when it started. India, things like that. However, it has expanded all over. And when it first started in India, the only thing it did was the meditation and the breathing. That's actually the biggest part of yoga. It's about calming the fluctuations of your mind. As you know, mind's running, in 50 directions and all the time. So that was the foundation of it. Bringing yourself back to yourself and getting to know yourself without the outer distractions, which we all have. And it's not about, stopping your mind from thinking. It's about being able to be where you are and be in the present moment. So over time, there's these other limbs, they're called, are a part of it. And the practice, the physical practice, which is the third limb, which is called the asana practice, that is done in, it developed over time. However, what happened when it came here, the Western practice of it, that's all it involved, was the physical practice. So I think that's why a lot of times people are like, well, if that's all there is to it, then why would I be bothered? Especially younger men, right? Well, I'm not going to get enough physical stuff out of it. I'm not going to build my muscles. I'm not going to, there's no cardio involved, that sort of thing. Which there is, trust me. But I think if people knew a little bit more about how it works in the whole system, because it really is a system, there's a whole other piece to this called Ayurveda, which is the life science part of it, which has nothing to do with the movements and the meditation. It's about how to eat and how to balance your eating according to other things. Based on it's big. It just could keep going and going. You're born, from the day and time you're born, that is called your prakriti, and then it just develops into this whole thing where you should be eating this, and this is how to balance that out. So it's this whole massive system that's actually quite simple to understand, and then you can just expand from there. You can start and then you just grow. So no, it is not a religion. It's a philosophical way of life.
Okay. And we are horrible eaters. We ought to eat on the go, eat junk food, wrong times of the day. And like I said, we'll be wide open and 10 o'clock at night, and we'll come back and grab the bag of chips and sit on the couch till the next call. So yeah, we're horrible. So, so the first thing you would want to do, I'm going to guess, is you want to get your mind in the right place. I've heard you say that you want to have your feet in contact with the ground and stuff like that, but really you want to exercise your mind before you start doing the physical part. Is that, am I right on that?
Correct. Yes. So what I would start with in any practice is just to sit, just to get your body centered, calm, your mind, and breathe. Just take nice inhales and exhales, letting go of the day, letting go of anything that occurred. If things do pop up in your mind, which they will, just acknowledge that they're there and let it go and come back to where you are. Always want to come back to where you are. Think, your eyes should be closed during that. If not, you can leave them open. It's just important to not engage with any of your thoughts that come into your head, which we know is very easy to do, right? So it's after work, it's like, what am I supposed to make for dinner? Did I forget to pick something up? What am I doing tomorrow? Do I have a doctor's appointment? We know this. And especially now, as opposed to 5,000 years ago, I'm sure there's a lot more things on our plate now than, right? I would think it's more important now for us to do this than years ago. But yes, so any practice would start with, 5 minutes of just sitting and grounding and coming to your mat and your center and preparing for this.
What do you find is one of the best ways to clear your mind? Because I feel like sometimes I'm always thinking, and yeah, it's like you. When I was on duty, though, it was about a million other things. Especially in this culture now, where you're actually sometimes having to get physical during the calls.
Right.
You're on high alert. I mean, the people out there don't like it. You got a uniform on, so. But what is a good way to, because that's going to be the first challenge I can foresee, is people are going to be like, well, how do you sit and get nothing in your head?
Okay, that's a great question. It's not that you don't get anything in your head. It's bringing that awareness, perhaps, for example, as you're breathing, right? You'll just, as you're inhale, you might want to count. Inhale, 1, exhale, 2. So you can count, you can use a mantra, you can inhale, say, I am calm. So inhale, I am, exhale, calm, all to yourself, and that will help push that out of all of these thoughts out of your mind. With anything else, it's practice.
Yes.
So, the counterpart to this is meditation, where it's not focused on the breath work so much, because all this breath work, there's multiple ways to do that. That is designed, to balance everything, but it also, while keeping your mind at bay, it strengthens your diaphragm as well as your lung capacity. The meditation is strictly for the mind. It's not worried, you're not thinking about your breathing or anything, but that's something, if you practice on a daily basis, eventually as you go through your day, because you'll finish your meditation practice or your breath work and be like, oh, I feel so calm, and then you get a call, right? Or you or something happens, life happens. Can't stop the life from happening. But what that will train your mind to do is to say, okay, this happens, let it go, come back to where I am in the present moment, and how do I deal with it in life, as opposed to, that initial reaction or allowing it to affect you emotionally. So that's where that comes into play.
Okay. So first step, breathing. And when you were saying that, we used to, when we have people having anxiety attacks, we tell them to take a deep breath to 4, hold it for 4, make them count, and then release it for 4, hold it for 4, break. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but more than half the time, I would say it worked. So you get your breathing That's the first thing. And then from there, the next step is working on your mind. Like you said, if something comes in, acknowledge it, drop it in its bucket or whatever, and then just move on to the next thing and to just clearing it. So those are, would you call that the first two steps, I guess?
They would go together. Meditation is actually a separate practice than your breath work and the physical practice, the asana practice.
Okay.
So I like to start mine with a breath work practice, but your mind is still going in that case. So I try to think of it like, think of your mind. Your mind's like a storm, right? Think of your thoughts as clouds coming in, like it's a sky, beautiful sky, and then this thought comes in. You try and think of them as clouds. You see it and let it go. Again, that comes with practice. So yes, that would be first. And then once you bring yourself to a place of centeredness and calmness, that's when you would begin to move into the physical practice, which is called the asana practice. And just like any other form of exercise, you start slowly and you build up, and then you bring yourself back down, just like a cardio class, right? You start slowly, you work out up here, and then you gradually bring yourself back down. But also the difference in this kind of practice, in a yoga practice, is all that mind work that you just did in the beginning. As you move through your physical practice, the key is when you move into a movement, and that this is true in, say, weightlifting, right? You want to inhale on the exertion, exhale on the release. Same thing. Also keeping your mind in order as well. So it all kind of goes together. And in the physical practice, you would hold one of the poses, and as you stay there, what you just did in the beginning, so you're in whatever pose, your mind is going to start running, and you want to be able to let that go, sit where you are, stay in that pose, and allow that pose to be your center.
Okay. So sitting may not always be it then.
Sitting may not be what?
Maybe where you start, your center. You don't, I guess what I'm saying is you don't always have to be seated to start.
No, you don't. It is just recommended, especially, meditation, want to practice in a seated position. No, you can lie on your back with, your legs straight or your knees bent. You can stand. There are other ways to do it. And that is like I was saying earlier, when you had asked about men in particular, men are less flexible than females in their hip area and things like that. That's a fact. So men, I think initially, if they do go to a yoga class and they're like, okay, have a seat, they can't do it. So, I have a little trick. I'm sitting on a cushion. I don't know if you could see it, or you can sit on a block or anything like that. But also, it doesn't have to be cross-legged. You can certainly sit with your legs out in front of you, or this way, holding onto your ankles, whatever's comfortable for you, until you eventually build up to the Criss-Cross seat. We're supposed to sit like this. We were not meant to sit in chairs. Look at any child under 5 before they start school. They could sit down, crisscross applesauce, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep, totally natural to them. Once we start school, can't sit like that.
No. Once you start down that, yeah, that makes sense. So, and now so many jobs, I mean, not even in public safety, a computer. So, or we spend our time doing reports or whatever, or driving in your car. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah. And cell phone, when we're like this, our necks, they call it tech neck now, I think.
Yeah, I think there is a technical, I think you're right. There is a technical form that I've heard. So. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I got scrolling thumb. Maybe that's what I got.
That too.
So yeah, I'm sure there is, but so the basics they would need to start. You said a mat uh, to basically ground yourself, or just use that as your area.
Correct.
I guess it's more for slipping though, isn't it? So because you
Yes.
you could, I mean, I guess carpet would work, but probably your own mat. Uh, is there anything else you recommend to get to start with this? I mean, obviously loose fitting clothes and all that stuff, but
Yes. Yes. Anything you want to wear that's comfortable, by all means. The mat, definitely because of slipping, and you want to do it in bare feet because you don't want to slip. Can you sit and meditate and do breath work in socks? Of course. But the mats are really inexpensive. You can get one for like $10 at a Target or a Walmart or Marshalls or any of those places. It's the best way. It also, because it has the edges, the rectangular, it for your alignment when you're doing the physical practice.
okay.
And if you do want to practice sitting crisscross, grab a book, grab 5 books and sit on that. That is a bonus of yoga. It doesn't cost anything to start the practice.
Okay. Well, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Because we don't get paid well. So that's really all right. So you've got your mat, you've got your loose fitting clothes on, you've controlled your breathing, slowed yourself down. And so what would be the phase, I guess, step one? And let me ask you, because I'm not sure. I think we had said this earlier. I don't know. Is it a pose? Is it a stand? What is the correct name for?
A pose is fine. In Sanskrit, it's asana, which I like it, but and the reason I like it, so it's Asana. All of the poses, by all means, they're called poses, or postures, whichever you prefer. If the Sanskrit word will end in the word asana. So, for example, balasana. That's you're down on your forearms, your palms of your hands are flat on the mat in front of you, your forehead is touching the mat, and your hips are pressed back. Your knees are bent, your toes are together, and your hips are pressed towards your ankles. But that's called balasana. So that word asana is attached to every position in yoga.
Okay.
That's why I call them asanas, but feel free to say position or anything
Okay.
you prefer.
I just don't want to offend you when I go
No,
position
no.
1 or position 2, whatever. Because as we do this, I'm not going to do it on camera because I'm a fat, ugly guy. So
No.
yeah, I won't be doing it on camera, but I will definitely do it off camera. But what I
Okay.
want to do is, I know there'll be people watching us. So, and that's our goal. Our goal is to get people to watch us, to
Yeah.
learn this stuff, and hopefully, not feel silly because they got, some stupid thing to do. I want them to take it serious. So, what would be the very first start out one after you've got yourself calm and you're ready to do a pose, a stretch? What would be the very first one you would recommend? Is it just the sitting?
There's what I want people to understand, that there is no order. It's not a regimented thing. The practice of yoga in its entirety, yes, is orderly, but the physical practice is literally whatever is feeling good for you at that time.
Okay.
So, if your body is just saying, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that today, take it down all as low as you need to, or don't do it at all. Whatever you feel comfortable doing. If you want to close your eyes while you're practicing, close your eyes. So it's a very personalized experience. My job as a teacher, I'm not teaching you English where, this is how it's done. I'm guiding you.
Okay.
All I am there for is to say, okay, let's move into this next. however best it works for you. I do like to stress, as you develop your practice into certain poses and positions, which, I mean, you can make anything as hard as you want, right? As stretchy as you want and things like that. I do like to talk about alignment and correct alignment, because you can hurt yourself doing this. And a perfect example is plank. You know, the plank pose, push up. If your arms are not, if your palms of your hands are not under your shoulders, especially as you're older, I've had shoulder surgery already on one arm, you know, the rotator cuff. You're out here, you're just not aligned right, and you have some issues going on already with your tendons and all that stuff, which most people do. It's nothing, you know, we all have those problems. And you lower yourself down and you're not ready for it, and you're not using your abdomen or your glutes to kind of pull all that together, you could potentially do more damage. So that's one of the things that I will always guide you through the proper alignment, and you develop that as time goes on, and, you know, being in the right spot, so you don't do anything wrong, and it also, or damaging, and it also will help you gain better strength. You know, so you're balanced on each side. And again, our sides are different, so you're going to do one side one way, the other side, oh, this might hurt a little bit or whatever when you do it, and that's okay. But you always want to work towards that goal of the correct alignment and doing what's best for you.
Okay. Now, you brought up something, and I don't know if maybe I'm just thinking of like PE back in school. Yes, kids, we used to have an hour of PE every day in school. Do you do any warm-ups for this?
Yeah.
Because back in I don't know how old you are, but back in our day, we had PE, and before you would start, they would have you stretching, stuff like that. And hell, we were, you know, middle school kids, but they still wanted you to warm your body up. So do you do that with this?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Absolutely. Like anything else, like you said, you don't want to just jump into doing something super stretchy where you're, you know, especially in the morning, if you're not warmed up yet. Yeah. It's not a jogging in place warm up, but it's definitely some stretches. I could show you some. I could even do it while I'm sitting, so you can see something super basic, and anybody can do this. You can, I mean, there's actually chair yoga, so you can do most things in the chair too. Sorry, that was
what? No, that's fine. One of the, I was actually going to ask you about that, because one of my co-hosts is handicapped. She's got loss of a leg, so she couldn't do any of the standing ones. Well, I won't say she couldn't, but it would probably be extremely difficult with the prosthetic. So that would be something I'm wanting to talk about as we go along. Okay. So you were worried about time, and we're already 5 minutes in. So see, I told you, just be like talking. So maybe for episode 1, a good jumping off spot would be, let's get your breathing, your mind right, and then let's do some stretch. Show us how to stretch, and yes, from the seated position, because, well, some of us are old. But yeah, that way, because I think that would be a good stopping off point. Because I don't, have you ever heard of the remote viewing by any chance?
Remote viewing?
Yeah, it's basically the meditation. You get your mind blank and empty, and then you put yourself somewhere else, and it's almost like astro travel, or sometimes time travel. It's possible. The CIA does it, so it's very possible. So I think that's a good spot we've learned where we've centered and where we are, and in the stretches. And in the next episode, we'll start with, all right, now that we get you warmed up, we're going to kick your ass.
Okay.
How does that sound? Does that sound reasonable to you?
That sounds perfect.
All right. And I'm going to feel like a real perv sitting here watching a hot chick do this.
It's okay. Remember, I've been around first responders my whole life.
Yeah,
I'm used to it.
yeah, you know how firemen are, so I'm not drooling, so, but yeah, you know how we are. All right. Well, yeah, so that'll give us about, I don't know, maybe 10-15 minutes of that. And then anything else you want to discuss, and then we'll hop off, and then we'll see how, maybe if we do this weekly, or if it's real successful, maybe we'll start with twice a month.
Sure.
And then go from there. But you know what? And that's something else I want to tell you. We're going to have some people, when I upload this, the radio station's going to want it. So you need to be very audible, because there may be people listening on the radio that want to try this, want to do this, but they can't see you. So maybe you could also give a term, just, what posture A is, blah, blah, blah,
Okay.
posture. So they could, I hate to say it, but because you said not to do it, but Google it, and they can see, because they can hear you if they can't get to YouTube. So,
Okay.
So we're kind of doing theater of their mind as well. So
Okay. Sure, I could do that.
Okay. So I'll let you start. And like I said, give us about 10-15 minutes. And then we'll end. And in the next episode, we'll talk about kicking your ass.
All right. So you want to start with a little of the breathing, some breath work. Again, you can sit in a chair as well if this sitting on the floor is just not accessible at this time for anyone. So what I recommend, sitting on the floor or a chair, again, you want to be nice and comfortable. You can close your eyes if that feels good, if you're comfortable with that. Place the palm of your hands on your thighs. You want to just relax your arms. I want you to take a nice big inhale and draw your shoulders up towards your ears. And as you exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Make sure that the top of your head is nice and tall. You want to keep your spine in alignment. That's a big recommendation. Your spine should always be in alignment no matter what position you're in. So as you're sitting, drawing in your belly, squeezing your shoulder blades together, everything in one line. So get relaxed. And we'll do this for maybe 2 minutes or so. So what I want you to begin with is bring your awareness to your stomach, your belly, okay? As you breathe in, I want you to close your mouth. Try your best to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Inhale and exhale. So on your inhale, I want you to bring your awareness to your belly and feel it expand. If it helps for you, you can place one of your hands, palms over your belly and feel it expand as you inhale and release as you exhale. And just do that with your own breath. Inhale and exhale as slowly as you can. Try to keep your awareness on your breathing. Thoughts come in, which they will, acknowledge them, and come back to your breath. If it helps for you to count, inhale 1, exhale 2. And just continue. Release your hands whenever you would like to. Just really just breathing. This is the most basic. You can do this anywhere. You can do this on your way to a call, after a call, on your way home, on the way to a grocery store, anywhere. You could do it sitting on your couch. And this will bring you back to that state of centeredness.
Okay.
And again, with something like this, I will guide you on your inhale and exhale, but everybody's breath pattern is going to be a little bit different. Over time, you want to extend those inhales and exhales preferably making the exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. And again, that will be different for everyone else. So I like to make this part of it for the practitioner, which is also known as the yoga student, for them to get comfortable with their breathing, as opposed to me saying, okay, inhale, exhale, inhale, and then maybe feeling forced, to inhale and exhale on cue. So this would be more on your own in the beginning. And that's why it's the basic of the start of a practice.
Makes sense. Plus, it probably takes different times for different people or different situation to come down from.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Or, people have some issues, right? Who knows? You may not be able to exhale as long or inhale as long, that we're people that way. We're all different, but it's just getting that your own rhythm of your inhale and exhale, and just breathing into that and staying in that and allowing everything else to kind of go away. So that's the first part. There's many different types of breath work you can do. You had mentioned earlier, someone was like anxious. Inhale for 4, exhale for 4. That's actually called box breath, where you do inhale for 4, you hold for 4, and then exhale for 4 and hold at the end of the exhale for 4. So there's all different types. They serve different purposes, strengthening the diaphragm. And so, yeah, so there's this, that's not the only thing to do, but I recommend starting with the basic, getting in touch with your breath rhythm.
I hate to say this, but we took a class as firefighters. When you advance up different firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and then technician, whatever. One of the classes was firefighter survival, and they literally trap you, and they tell you, take your tank off. You're just holding on to your hose, and how long can you keep that tank? In other words, that's all the air you got is in that tank. We're coming to help you. How long can, and they actually teach you, you can turn the air on and do your little 1, 2, 3, or you turn it off. They want you to control your breathing, because if we're coming to you, first off, it's in a dangerous, loud environment, probably heat. Your air is over here and you ain't got much left. And so how long can you milk that last 3 minutes of air, when you're trapped?
Mm-hmm.
And when you were talking about that, I was having flashbacks. I was like, yeah, I remember doing this. I was trapped. But yeah, it does work. It does work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's super important with that, because your SCBA, right, might say you have 3 minutes. But if you're breathing like that, you're not going to have 3 minutes.
Nope.
So it's strengthening that diaphragm and learning to control your breathing under stressful situations is super important. Super important. So,
and I guess for law enforcement, that if you're pursuing a bad guy or something, and you've got to suddenly draw your weapon, and we're now at a real bad decision for one of the two of us, it's probably a good idea to have a way of checking your breath to bring yourself back down as well.
Absolutely.
I had a police officer tell me after a high-speed pursuit, he felt like he could pull a vehicle with dental floss tied between his teeth up a hill. And I was like, well, I get it. That's the kind of the feeling we get when something goes crazy in the fire. So,
right, because he was here. He was in that high energy state, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So, that's what happened.
So that's good life skills, just in addition to anything. That's a good life skill, I think, to have.
Sure.
To be able to calm, and then like you were talking about, if you want to get into the deep meditation and do the other stuff, that's cool. That's on you, but it's a good way to just bring yourself, center you, and then you're where you're at now. That's not what I want to say. You're in present. You're not all over the place. Your brain's not going 200 miles an hour all over the place. So
think of it as a reset.
Okay, good idea. Good idea. Like
Right.
your computer, you push the button. No, well, this is why you're the teacher, and I'm just that guy with a mic. So, and I want to tell everybody, I'm going to be your victim too during this. So I'm going to try and do this.
Okay.
And you and I had talked about the hand, if there was anything for the hand. If anyone has any specific things that they want to say, I got a neck injury or a trick hip or a knee or something. I
Yes.
assume there's specific things for each malaise. Is that?
Oh, absolutely. Anything can be adjusted through the practice of yoga. I mean, can it fix everything? You know, I was talking about their Ayurveda before, and this all comes, you know, this is Eastern medicine and stuff, right? Not Western medicine. It's completely different. So the practice of the yoga and all that stuff and that whole system and the Ayurveda, which is the eating part and stuff like that, is geared towards having everything at the right time, you know, eating right, exercising, things like that, so you don't have to resort to the pills, like you were saying before. What do the doctors do when you go, oh, this is hurting? Well, here's a pill. Instead of maybe, well, why don't you try yoga, or why don't you try walking for 20 minutes a day? You know, we're very quick in the Western ends. We fix the problem that exists through drugs and things like that, where this system tries to prevent it from happening in the first place.
Okay.
So if you do have a lower back injury, there are postures that will stretch out those muscles to make you more flexible. It opens up your joints so your joints are more mobile. It strengthens other muscles around it that will alleviate that tension on whatever's causing you some pain. Like your knees, if you have knee injuries, you want to strengthen your quadriceps. All those joint, the connections and stuff around that will help alleviate the tension that's causing your knees to be problematic. So yes, please, if anybody has anything that is, I'm echoing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you back there.
That's fine. So yeah, no, I'd love to hear it. And if I'm not aware of it, I will certainly look into something, and I could offer up, do this 5-10 minute stretch on your own at home with, these 2 or 3 poses, and do this 3 times a week and see what happens.
And that's one of the things I was getting at. I want everybody to know around the world how to get in touch with you if they have any questions, because a lot of people won't want to leave a comment in the public. They'd rather message you directly or me. So how can people get in touch with you?
My email is perfect. The Nemo's Journey at yahoo.com. They can reach out to me that way.
Okay. I will put that in the show notes.
And also I have a website. It's www.nemosjourneyllc.com. And they can go there as well and submit the contact form, and I will get back to them through that as well.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, I think, you were worried, and we filled an hour. And I told you, it's just like a talk. The only difference in doing it live is you get distracted by the chat. Somebody might ask you a question and you get sideswiped with, something.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's best for us to record and release these. And like you said, if anybody has any comments, queries, or questions, contact you. Of course, you can get in touch with me through the show, sportcat@protonmail.com. All this will be in the show notes. So anybody listening that can't get to a computer, come over on YouTube and listen, or look up the Sportcat shows, and hit the more button after you see the video, and you'll see all the show notes where I'll put all that stuff in for us. Yes. So we will make a goal. What do you think? Twice a month to start out, Lisa?
Sure. that sounds great.
All right, so we'll start out with twice a month,
Okay.
and we'll see if you kill me.
You'll be fine.
It's not good to kill the host. Don't kill the host. So,
I promise.
all right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up for us then. Lisa, thank you so much. I
Thank
hope
you.
that we get this out there, and it'll probably be a slow thing at once, and they'll have to go back and start it. Episode 1. That's why I like to keep it right at an hour.
Okay.
So because people can usually listen to something or watch something for at least that long. But not every episode has to be. But so they can come back. This will be the starting point, and then we'll go forth from there. So thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything you're doing. I think we're going to make a difference. That's my goal. I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out into the ether. We're going to make a difference. We're going to help somebody. So maybe me, maybe me. I don't know.
All right.
Somebody. So, yeah, Lisa. So thank you. Have a great. We're currently in evening, so have a good evening.
Yes.
And,
Thank you, too, Glenn. I appreciate it.
all right, and I will talk to you here in a bit, and we'll talk about the next episode, how you can kill me. So
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.